Welcome to your personalized news report from PalsFundamentals.
Yeah.
More content like this is available on our YouTube channel. And the sources for this report are linked below.
Okay.
You've asked for a concise briefing on the top news stories from the last 3 days, focusing on politics and grouped by region. We'll wrap things up with a comprehensive weather forecast for the North Atlantic region.
Sounds good. Let's get started.
Okay.
Let's jump right in with Iceland.
Okay.
The Independence Party just concluded their national convention electing Guðrún Hafsteinsdóttir as their new leader. The vote was incredibly close with a margin of just 19 votes.
Wow, that's really close.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to some incidents that have occurred. 2 men were swept into the sea by a large wave at Akranes Harbor while assessing storm damage on the harbor's breakwater extension.
Oh, no.
1 man remains in critical condition.
Oh, goodness.
The managing director of fishing company Escrow is calling for a minimum capelin fishing quota to be established. He believes this would allow for better monitoring of capelin migration and maintain human consumption markets. This follows 2 years of no capelin fishing and a historically low quota set for this year.
Interesting.
In Sanjarei, significant damage resulted from coastal flooding over the weekend. The town's mayor has requested increased funding for coastal defenses, suggesting that storm surges be covered by the National Avalanche and Landslide Fund.
Okay. Now let's shift our focus to Greenland.
So good.
U.S. President Donald Trump has once again expressed interest in acquiring Greenland. Greenland's Prime Minister Mute B. Esjid firmly rejected this notion, stating that Greenland is ours, we will not be Americans.
All right. The Danish municipality of Gentofte has decided to discontinue its long-standing student exchange program with Tasiilaq, Greenland, citing concerns about social problems.
Yeah.
This decision has been met with outrage in Greenland, with the mayor of Sermersooq municipality condemning it as discriminatory and disrespectful. Access to maternity care remains a pressing issue in Greenland. Many women are having to travel far from their homes and communities to give birth. In a related story, a family who relocated to Denmark due to insufficient support for their son with Angelman syndrome is speaking out about their experience. They are drawing attention to the disparities in resources and support available in Greenland compared to Denmark.
What's tough?
Overnight, a house fire occurred in Narsak, but fortunately the house was unoccupied at the time and no injuries were reported. Investigations into the cause of the fire are currently underway.
Oh, wow.
Turning our attention to the Faroe Islands, the Minister of Fisheries and Transport, Dennis Holm, has resigned. The search for his replacement is ongoing, and a new minister is expected to be appointed this week.
Gotcha.
The Faroe Islands consumed 305,000 tons of oil last year, an increase from the previous year. Fishing vessels and other ships accounted for over 50% of this consumption. With concerns growing over potential trade wars, the director of the Faroes Chamber of Commerce is urging the government to ensure that any protectionist measures implemented by the EU do not negatively impact trade between the Faroe Islands and the EU.
Okay.
Let's wrap up our regional news with the Shetland Islands. A feasibility study is being conducted to explore the potential of using a dedicated wind turbine to power the Bray District heating system.
Interesting.
Northlink Ferries, which provides transportation between Shetland and the mainland, has encountered further disruptions. Freight sailings have been canceled for the second time this week due to stormy weather.
Oh, no.
Adding to the transportation challenges, one of the passenger ferries remains out of service following a flooding incident in dry dock.
Wow.
The Shetland Times is reporting a deteriorating situation in the Lerwick lanes, raising concerns about public safety despite Shetland having Scotland's lowest crime rate overall. And lastly, the managing director of Northlink Ferries has confirmed that shared cabins will not be reinstated on their ferries, despite a recent petition advocating for their return. He emphasized that this decision was made solely for safety reasons.
Right.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? Everything from those political happenings to the economy and even, a house fire.
Yeah, it's been quite a busy few days in the North Atlantic.
Definitely. But before we wrap up, I know you requested a weather forecast, so let's get to that. What can folks in the Faroe Islands expect?
Okay, so for the Faroe Islands, they are going to be in for some rough weather. Expect gale force winds and heavy rain through Wednesday evening.
Oh, okay.
With the potential for the winds to reach storm force.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about the seas?
Right. So the seas will be rough with the possibility of coastal flooding. The winds will decrease overnight, shifting to westerly. The high will be 9 degrees C, dropping to 2 degrees C on Thursday.
Okay, got it. And what's the outlook for the rest of the week?
Well, the rest of the week we'll see lighter winds, drier conditions, and cooler temperatures, potentially dipping below freezing.
Brr. Okay.
Yeah.
Any specific information on the Shetland Islands forecast?
So while there's no explicit forecast for Shetland, the cancellation of those freight sailings suggests that the stormy conditions are likely persisting in the region.
Yeah.
You'll want to check updated forecasts for the most accurate information.
Okay, that's good advice. Always good to check those updated forecasts. And that concludes our North Atlantic News Report for March 5, 2025. We appreciate you tuning in and trusting us to provide you with the latest from the region. Remember to check out PalsFundamentals on YouTube for more news reports and in-depth analysis. And you can find the sources for this specific report linked below.
Absolutely. Staying informed is key, especially with so much happening in the North Atlantic these days.
Couldn't agree more.